Sri Lanka did not fall into a trap. China did not come to us with money. We went to China for funding. And this is after we had approached the West and multilateral institutions for the funding. I've been to China about 18 times before that. In 2020, I came here and I lived here for the last almost 3 years. What impressed me was, over the years, how China has developed and how fast it has developed. I have been to many other countries. I've not seen any other country developing at this rapid pace. Hambantota port was developed under the Belt and Road Initiative, and Hambantota is at the southern edge of Sri Lanka. And from there, you can see one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. There are shippings going from east to west and west to east on every few minutes. There is estimated that 35,000 ships go past that point every year. So Hambantota port was built in order to cater to this traffic. In the future, we expect there'll be more ships calling at Hambantota for water, for food, for bunkering. And then of course, that by these activities, Hambantota will spawn other industries. So we will expect over the years that Hambantota will become a very valuable income earner for Sri Lanka. It will also serve the international shipping trade. So that's a major connectivity that has resulted from the building of the Hambantota port. The economic crisis is a very deep-seated crisis with a history behind it. So it's not going to be easy to get out of it, but there are signs that Sri Lanka is extricating itself, and very positive signs. These signs have been acknowledged by the main banks in China, the China Development Bank and the AIIB. They have all acknowledged that Sri Lanka has demonstrated all indications of a rapid recovery. But how has the Belt and Road helped us? Of course, the connectivity between the airport and the southern harbour is a major economic benefit. The goods and services can now be transported along that road much faster than in the past. Cost of transporting has come down because of the speed and the fuel consumption, reduced fuel consumption. Now the new road that is going up to the center of the country, it's a central highway, will bring similar benefits. The advantage of building roads and harbors is that they link people, they link communities, make the transportation of goods easier and more efficient and cheaper. Similarly, the availability of ports facilitates commercial activity further. So for us, the Belt and Road will bring major benefits, as it has in other parts of the world. I think we have to separate propaganda from reality. Sri Lanka did not fall into a trap. China did not come to us with money. We went to China for funding. And this is after we had approached the West and multilateral institutions for the funding. And it is very important to remember that the feasibility studies for the Hambantota port, with which this debt trap narrative has been associated with, we first received feasibility studies from a Canadian company and then from a Danish company. Both of these companies recommended the construction of this port. And it was not as if these feasibility studies were done by Sri Lankans or the Chinese, but no insinuation could be made that the feasibility studies were done in order to construct the harbour. And it was only after that we approached our traditional funders, the multilateral institutions, all of whom turned us down just after the end of the internal conflict. And I suppose there was some nervousness about funding Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka needed at that point huge dollops of investments in order to recover and reconstruct. And so it was after a failure or after having been rebuffed by our traditional funders that we turned to China. And China came along and provided us with the funding. And at that stage, the economy was in a very good shape, reasonably good shape, and we could have met the repayment requirements. So I personally think that this debt trap narrative is a hyped up propaganda, and we need to steer away from propaganda and reality. Tourism was becoming a major portion of our economy. Prior to COVID, 12 to 15% of our national income was derived from tourism. Over 1 million people were either directly or indirectly employed by the tourism trade. China supplied us with about 265,000 tourists in 2018. And everything was sunny, looking sunny, and it was booming. Then COVID came along and tourism went down to zero. In addition to that, the income derived from tourism was lost. This is one of the key factors that contributed to our financial crisis. So now, thankfully, tourism is recovering. Chinese are now beginning to travel worldwide. China has designated Sri Lanka as one of the 20 countries recommended for Chinese group travel. Already, I know that groups are beginning to go everywhere, including Sri Lanka. This morning, I had a message from Colombo from the leader of a group whom I know personally. And they had just completed a tour of the country. They had even met the Prime Minister. And they were very happy with the tour. So I assume that this will continue. The Belt and Road Initiative is 10 years old this year. We believe, and we continue to believe, that it will help developing countries to achieve a higher level of development. This will happen because the Belt and Road Initiative is expected to result in the investment of $4 to $8 trillion. Already we can see some countries have turned around in their economic development trajectory because of the BRI investments, with new roads, new harbors, new bridges, new airports, and also other industries spawning around these new development. It has done a lot. So I think Sri Lanka can expect to benefit considerably from further BRI investments. We have actually invited more investments under the BRI. BRI-related investments will also help Sri Lanka to extricate itself from the massive financial crisis that it is facing. Sri Lanka is recovering, there's no doubt about it, and the BRI investments will be a further fillip to this recovery process.